So, hi everybody. Today we're going to do drawing, and we're just going to basically explore this awesome drawing kit from Artist Loft, and it has all of these cool things in this. So, I never got art supplies when I was growing up, so this is super fun for me. Any art supply is fun. So, this has colored pencils and these ones, right? And then these are drawing pencils, the blue ones with the black tips on them, and they have different numbers on them, and that tells you how soft the lead is. And then these are chalks, and then this is called a gum eraser, and then this is an artist eraser, the white one, and then a pencil sharpener. And then these two are for blending sticks. These weird things. So let's take it out and explore it. Okay, super fun. And then we don't need this dumb case. Oh, and then there's a drawing pad in there. Forgot, because the paper is crap. So I've got you real nice paper. And then we have, oh, and it also has this little instruction book in it, right? And if you explore this instruction book, it's in, you know, French and everything, you know, but it talks about highlighting. And even in this picture, is that upside down to you? It is? Okay, just pretend like it's right side up. Okay, so you can see how the very first one is on page 8. It's like, oh, look at, it's just only got a little bit, and then they put more color and more color and more color. So unlike paint where you just go like that, and the paint just goes on, this you layer and make it darker and darker, and every little scribble, right, is more color, more color, more color. And what I did notice is my arm got tired. It's been so long since I drew. And then these are different textures. This is dash, dash, dash. It talks about texture. And then there's cross hatching, which is making boxes. But I prefer, because I paint, is the texture. If I'm doing a sky, I'm horizontal. If I'm doing grass, I'm vertical, right? That just, the texture it matters. And then you could, like this, you know, using different textures, which is how hard you push with your pencil. And then they give you examples too, and then you read over there. Nobody cares, very boring. And then the hardest thing is to capture the shape of something, right? So hard to capture the shape of something. There's all kinds of tools you can do to capture the shape, but let's play with the, explore all of our tools first. And then, of course, the most important thing is our color wheel, and red, yellow, green, blue, purple. And this is building the color across and how much darker and darker you can make it. So like, oh, color pencils are so see-through. Well, the harder you push and the more you scribble, it's more and more. And then these are showing you how to fade. And remember when we did painting, how you can get one color to fade into another color? Two colors should never just come to a stop. They should disappear and make like a faded, blurry edge. So like this one is all fading into red. This is every color fading into red. The purple becomes like purpley white, and then it's a little bit of invisible red mixed with purple, and then darker red, darker red. So it's putting a whole bunch, then less, then less, then less, but always letting the colors like blend over on each other. And then this doesn't even look like colored pencil to me. It looks like a painting. But this is what it looked like when the person started, right? You're like, oh, that must have took forever. And then here it is with, you know, and then it gets darker. So it's how hard you push with your paintbrush. And then this is telling you, see, I have a still life we can do, but mine's upside down. Stupid webcam, I set it up upside down. Just ignore that. So the trick is always to get, just like when we did painting, dark, medium, light, right? And then the shape of things. So if it's round, the shape of of the shadow has to be round. Then the next color is round. Then the next color is round. Then the next color is round, because the object is round, right? And then the way I made this is the orange, I traced a can of soup. The apple, I traced a can of soup, but I made a little dent at the top, right? And then the grapes are little nickels that I traced, because it's hard to make circles, right? And then you make like a whole bunch of circles, and then you overlap them. So like this one looks like it's behind, right? It's just because there was a round one in there, and you just layer them like that. But you go dark, medium, light. And that's how you do all, oh, and then which direction the light comes from. And then we can draw this, which is, it's almost invisible. Why is it upside down? I'm so irritated I didn't notice that yesterday when I set up my camera. But it's using the colored pencils, but just trying to make the colors, and I just ripped it right out. But you can tell by the texture of this paper that it's not good paper, right? And you can tell it's like, oh, this is basically like printer paper, and it's super thin, and you're like, this is what? So then when you explore this paper that I got you, this is drawing paper, and it has a much smoother surface. So when you go like this with your finger and blend, or you use one of those blending sticks, it works better, and it's way thicker. It's heavier, which just means just like a plastic bag. Some would be invisible, and some, you know, you'd see right through it, and some are super thick like a hefty. That's this paper. It's its weight. So I got us that. So, but we're gonna draw on this smaller paper just for time, because covering this giant piece of paper with all that colored pencil will take forever. Okay, so let's go back to our kit and take it apart. Okay, so I want you to play with, open up your real coloring pad. Flip. And then we'll play with these, and then open up your erasers. If you've never got, oh, yuck. Do you guys have scissors? I do. Wow, that is on there good. There. This is called a gum eraser. You know how you try to draw on a piece of paper, and then you use the pink eraser on the top of the eraser, and it turns into some ugly schmear, and you're like, this is coming out dirty and ugly, and it's gross. I can't open mine. There, I got it. I started it. But it works like clay, where as soon as you get one side dirty, you just fold it over, and it picks up the graphite. It picks up the graphite from, mine's not coming off very good. But look at it, it's like literally clay. And this is very, very old-fashioned to use a, this is where they got the idea for the pink rubber eraser at the top, but they don't use rubber anymore, too expensive. This is actually you know, rubber, and it's like all bouncy. They started using plastic on the top of an eraser, but plastic doesn't pick up the graphite. It moves it around, and it peels itself off, right, the plastic, and you're like, this is not working. Well, and then open this other one too. This is an artist eraser, or a drafting eraser, and then I had to cut mine because the plastic's on there good. Oh my God, I love these so much. So if you've ever thought what's wrong with my drawing? It just looks like a whole bunch of smears. So now that you have a white eraser, it's heaven. Okay, so we have these two erasers ready to go. Okay, so let's draw our, let's just play with these different numbered pencils. I'm going to turn mine so my numbers are up. And this is describing the numbers and the letters describes how hard the graphite is. So graphite is carbon, right? Remember you hear of lead pencils? They don't make lead pencils. That's poisonous, right? Even though it worked, but no, it's poisonous. So these are graphite, and graphite grows naturally. It's a rock, right? It's carbon, which is usually old burned things, like an old forest that burned down. And it's under pressure, it becomes a diamond. So this, it's a hexagon shapes of carbon. So it's very stable and it becomes diamonds, but we're not going to make diamonds. We're going to put it under pressure. But try the 2H. This is the one that a number 2 pencil, that's where they get it from, is how hard it is, how hard the graphite is. So use the side of your pencil and just like explore, like, yeah, that's like a regular pencil, and just make like a dirty mark. And I don't use the tip of my paintbrush almost ever. I use the side of my paintbrush unless I'm literally drawing a line. Then I could use the tip of my paintbrush, tip of my pencil, and I just make a scribble. Okay, now let's try using the eraser on it. So try the gum eraser, and you can see how it picks it up and makes like a dirty mark on your gum eraser. And like it doesn't work like a pink eraser. It picks it right up, and you're like, oh my God, that would save me so much time, right? And now try the white eraser. Oh, isn't that beautiful? It could actually get the paper back to white. It works like a pink eraser where it dissolves itself, but it's so much cleaner and it does not smear. It does not push the graphite around. So it's like, oh, so if I make a mistake, it's literally gone. But of course, the harder you push with the graphite, the deeper you put it into the paper, right? And you actually make a dent into the paper if you push hard with your pencil. Okay, let's explore the other color, the other pencils. And just because, oh, and do this too, I forgot. Now smear it with your finger and see if you can, or a little blunt. These are, if you don't like getting your fingers dirty, these are little blending blunts. Oh, you can't even see it. There it is. Right? And you just go like this, you can smear it and look at how it pushes it around and makes an invisible baby gray. Or your finger works too, but your finger has oil on it. So a lot of artists won't use their finger because it changes the ability for the eraser to pick it up again. But both are fun. So you go like this. This responds to oil different, right? The rubber would be like, I can't pick up oil. Are you kidding? So you go like this, and you're like, oh, look at it. It makes a little, look at, it's almost, it will make it literally invisible. So pretty. Right? Now let's try another pencil. We'll try all of them. So do this, and then there's an H, just a regular H. And look at how much darker she is. Is she really darker? No. But wouldn't that be a lot faster when you're trying to draw stuff? If you had they're called artist pencils because the only thing they sell at the dollar store is a number 2, right? But if you're lucky and you get these artist pencils, they're softer. So it comes off way easier. Now try the different erasers on them. Like, and it still works. Like, yes! But look at how the rubber, the gray one, the clay, I forget what her name is. This one has a name, but I already forgot. But, and then you can try blending it with your little blendy stick. And look how much, oh, that blends so good. Like blending, the word blending literally means getting it to disappear into invisible. You're like, oh yeah, it's way softer than the other one and darker. So if you went to go shadow something, it would be so much faster, right? 2 little scribbles and it's already dark. It's not a number 2 pencil. Okay, and then try just a B by herself. You're like, oh my God, it's even darker. It's softer. So that soft means that those little hexagon shapes of the crystals in the carbon are not as close together, right? So they come apart like crumblier. It's crumblier, so it comes off easier. And it's just how much pressure, just like a diamond, how much pressure it was under. So they just get the rock, when they pull the graphite out of the ground, they just test it. Now I can test it with how hard it is. And then they just number it. If you've ever got to take geology, it's a trip where they find graphite. And then try a 2B, and then try a 4B. And just like explore them and see how they behave with an eraser. Or their little blending stick, and see how much softer they are and how much easier they are to push around. Like, yeah, that looks so good. And you're like, how were those people able to get such soft edges? And this whole time you've been using a number 2 pencil, the hard pencil, with a finger, and you're like, how do they get it all blurry? Now you know. You can make it. So how many color values do you need for 3D? 3. Dark, medium, light. Well, using a soft pencil, you can you know how hard it is with a number 2, and you keep scribbling harder and harder to try to get it to be dark so that you can go lighter and lighter, and you're like, oh my gosh, this is so much easier with a soft pencil. And then the erasers are 1,000 times easier. Even on the darkest pencil, it comes right off. It makes a nice white line. So you can go, oh, that came out so ugly. I hate that so much. And then it's no longer throw the drawing away. It's just erase it. Because this is a real artist pencil. And it's also a drafting. Because if you were drawing designs for a building, you need to get that line off, or somebody would you know, build the wrong thing. You need to actually have the pencil disappear. Isn't that fun? And then this is just a sharpener, right? And it has 2 holes, but we only need the 1. But this is also steel. It's a steel instead of just aluminum, so it will last way longer and will stay sharper longer. And then our other colors. Where should I put this? I'll just put it all over here. And then we have colored pencils. Everyone knows about those because you've been playing with those since you were little. But these are all called number 2s. So they even sell colored pencils, which is obviously not graphite, but they'll make them softer and softer. And then these are chalks. So try finding the most red pencil, and we're going to compare it to chalk, right? So let me move this. Goodbye, pencils. Put it over there. And try, okay, side of my pencil, the same as you know, the pencil, and see how dark you can get it. But look how light she is. You're like, what? So you have to push harder and harder and go over it and over it and push harder and harder, and you're like, what? It's very hard to, and then you think the more I scribble on it, the more red it will get. Look what's happening to my color pencil. Where's all my powder going? It's actually making a little pile. So the color pencil can only go so dark because it scratches the color pencil off. So you're like, oh, I'm making it darker and darker. Actually, because it's so hard, it's a number 2, it'll actually start scratching the color that you already put on there, and you're just wasting color pencil. I know you can't see it, but I'll hold it up closer. So there's this powder making a little pile in the corner right there, all this powder. So that's just colored pencil piling up because it's scratching itself off. Now get the red chalk and compare it. Oh, immediately cracks. Cuss and swear. But we only need a corner of it. And put it next to your color pencil, and look how much denser that is. Way better. And we'll use a blunt. Oh, you can sharpen these with a pencil sharpener. Look at the blending blunt is dirty. And you're like, yeah, but once it's all dirty, you can't, right? You got to sharpen it. So you just scratch, you're just shaving it off. But now use the blunt, a clean corner or the other side. Try to blend the color pencil and see what it does, and then do the chalk and see how much different they behave. So here's the color pencil. It's so hard, it's like that first one, like that. See, that's the number 2. And then now do the chalk. You're like, oh, that's so fun. It's so much softer. So it's just like that idea of how hard the graphite is, how well the color comes out, and how soft you can push it around. Look at that. Right? So you're like, oh, that's neat. And then I've ruined this blunt and I want to change colors and I don't want red everywhere. You just sharpen it and it gets it off. And these are very, very cheap, and they sell them in whole sets. There's just paper. There's just a wound of paper. Very easy. Okay, that's awesome, right? We explored everything that's in our kit. And then this cheap paper is just like a copy paper, the little one, right? But then you see how much different this smooth surface is. It's like, it's really soft, so it changes the way the graphite behaves. I mean, oh, wrong side. So fun. You're like, how can that be fun? Because now we're going to trace our circles. So let's just use the other side so we don't have to waste paper. But, you know, I want to tell you about drawing. So do you know why some people are good at drawing and some people aren't? People who aren't good at drawing don't draw all day, every day. People who draw will finish their homework and turn their paper over because there's a nice, and they will just start drawing. Okay, so why can't I draw? It isn't, you don't draw constantly. People who draw, they do it to calm themselves. They do it to distract their brain. They do it because they're bored. They doodle when they're on the phone. They draw constantly. So they're constantly training their brain to draw and change a shape and draw. That's the only difference. So if you want to know how to draw an eye, how many times do you have to draw an eye? The same exact eye, like 50 times. And you're like, there's no way I would do that. It's like, well, because you're not driven to draw, right? So when you remember how many times you had to draw a letter A to get a letter A? When you're in kindergarten, you have to do it over and over. You have to teach your brain how to make an eye. So if you just arrived, do you have supplies? You can get yourself some supplies. So we're going to trace our, where's my camera? Trace our cup, and we're going to make 3 circles. Right? So 1, 2, 3, right? Super easy. And you can use any color pencil. Oh, switch. Any color pencil you want. We're going to play with shadowing. Mine came apart. And I got my 2 erasers too. So I'm just going to get a number 2, I guess. Doesn't matter what you use. But just if you do it lightly, how easy will it be to get off? Super easy. And just trace your cup. I'm using a can, same diff, basically the exact same type, and make 3 of them. And we'll try shadowing. I have to do mine darker. So look how light I did mine. I did that automatically because I know it will erase easier. So go ahead and open your kit. Do you have a kit? Open up your stuff. Get out your stuff and start playing. Nobody cares. I'm doing mine harder because you can't see it on the camera. But normally, if I'm drawing, I do it super, super soft so I know I can erase it when I do it wrong. So, you guys ever draw a good drawing and you're kind of proud of it, and then you try to draw the nose and it comes out dumb, and you're like, forget this, because it doesn't erase. Now you have art pencils. So you're like, you can erase the part you hate 50 times. Until you get it how you, oh, I messed that one up. And let's use our HB or any of the soft pencils. Do you guys have a favorite? Remember when we did these? So that we went in order. It was a 2 and then let me look at my pencil. A 2, then an H, then an HB, and then a B, and a 2B, and what's this one? And a 4B. Right? That's how hard the graphite is. So let's try a super soft one, like an HB. And let's just make sure that's the right one. Yeah, nice and dark. Dark, 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 dark. And then if we go, oh, I ruined it. Yeah, yes. Yeah, yes, we ruined it. Because we can just erase it. So we're going to try shadowing a circle. And it was in your little art book, but of course they're using colored pencils. And we'll just try a pencil drawing. Let me see what page that was on. Oh, they're just talking about all the scribbles. There. So this is shadowing on page 19. And it's, and if you look at the photograph, oh, upside down. Sorry again. If you look at the photograph, there is, you know how long to get that level of gray? So when they drew it, they were just focusing on some of the gray, right? Not all of it, because that would take, and it would make a mess. And your hands, when we draw, we tend to rest our hands on the paper, which smears it, especially the soup. Look how super soft that is, and it just smears right away. So even when we're drawing, remember those easels I gave you guys, those cardboard easels? If you put your drawing on an easel, it'll keep your hands off of it, but for now, who cares? So let's pretend like the light is coming from this direction, from that direction, right? And then we'll shadow it. Let's see if I can do it upside down. Let's see how good my three-dimensional brain is. Let's pretend like the shadow's coming from this side, right? So that means this will be my most white spot right here. No, and I'll erase it if I get any smudge on it. So then this would have to be my darkest. So let's make a shadow underneath it. So if the light's coming from here, the shadow is shaped like a long, skinny thing, but it's just, you know, a scribble like that. But it's flat. But it doesn't go past the curve, because the light would turn, light can bend, so it would reach around and touch the very beginning of the curve and then stretch this way. Like that. And then we could get our blending stick and try to, and just by touching it with the little paper stick, blending stick, you'll turn that scribble into a nice soft. And it's like, oh, that's so fun. That's beautiful. And then now that you have a dirty little blunt, and she's got just a little bit of powder on here, if you go lower than that, it'll make it like a fuzzy gray color. And you're like, it's soft around it, but don't go above it, right? Because that would be the top of the table. But underneath it, you can make it all blurry. Oops, look what I did. See, this is what I'm saying. That does not make any sense right there. If the light's coming right here, boom, there's no way there'd be blurry. So here's my chance to get rid of that. The light would actually, could be very sharp. So it would, the way that, you know, light hits is it would wrap itself around, and the moment that the circle touched the table, then the shadow would start. And did you like blending? Isn't that pretty? The best. Okay, and now we'll make a little shadow. So where would the shadow be? This is the darkest shadow right here. And what shape would the shadow be? Hey, look at my hand makes a shadow. That's so perfect. Look. Nope, my hand, there. Oh, there's the shadow. Okay, sorry, playing. So it would be like a moon shape, but it couldn't be a shadow right here. We already determined that. So it would be like a little moon shape like this. Smile, smile. Like that. Just make like a dirty little corner on it. But look how it does not make sense as a lighted object. Why would the shadow come to a sudden stop? There's no way it would come to a stop. You guys can jump in and start drawing anytime. It's no skill level, right? Well, look at the top. Oops. The top of it should disappear. And then it should be, if this is the light source where my arrow is, a shadow should not, there's nothing obstructing that. So now I'm going to blend this and turn it into like this really pretty soft, right? But then I'm going to pull the top of this shadow up until it becomes all disappeary. And I'm like, oh. But do it in little tiny pieces. Everybody pause and look up. Like, so I make this is a dark little fuzzy. And then I scratch it only the edge of that and it'll be even lighter. And then I scratch at the top of that and it'll be even lighter. And then I scratch at the top of that, now it's invisible. So how many color values do you need for 3D? 3. The darkest would be in relation to the shadow, right? So that's my darkest. And then I went medium up the side. And then lighter, lighter, lighter. But how thick is it? The shadow is the exact same thickness, right? So this is a 2-dimensional circle right now. 2-dimensional because our shadow has to wrap around the object. So you're like, oh, so I need to, where would the brightest spot be? Like in the upper corner, like this. Because that's the light hitting it. Dink! So that would be the most bright corner. So everything can come up to this corner, but that has to stay pure white. So what if I get some graphite on that? I'll just use my eraser. So let's soften the edge of it and see if we can't, and in smiles, and do it in rows. First, I'm going to pick up some graphite, and I pick up the graphite, and now I go a row away, and then a row further away, and further. Nope, that's not working. We need to use our pencil. That was not, we need to go darker and then slowly go less and less. But the shadow is creeping up to the middle, creeping, 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 creeping little, like that. So I'm gonna go and make the shadow, but so I have to, look at, it looks like a scribble. I hate it. No, we're gonna blend it. But I can't go past this line right there, right? Oops, sorry, my hand was in the way. This is where the shadow starts. So I can't go past this. So I have to stay on this side of it. And then I go very dark, less, 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 less. And then I ran out. But that looks like a bunch of, if this was a number 2 pencil, you'd be like, that looks dumb, lady. I don't know what you're talking about. That looks terrible. Well, what if we use our blunt, right? Our what do I call it, a blunt? I'm sure that's what my art teacher called it. And then I make it dark, then lighter, 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 lighter. I can push it around. Oh, I went too far. That's I need to push that back with my eraser. There. Okay, it used to be softer there. Okay. So how many color values for 3D? 3, right? Darkest, mediumest, lightest. But look how you can see lines in mine. If this was a round, smooth object, there wouldn't be lines. So can I go back and just like dropping with my pencil and just drop off, it's like dropping off powder. Because this is a super soft pencil. The graphite is not, the little hexagons inside of the graphite are very far apart, so they're super, so I go, oh, let me try that again. And just use the side of my pencil, I'm constantly saying paintbrush, and then do it softer, 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 and go, oh yeah, yeah, yeah. And see if I can't, it's like a disappearing, and then I do less and less and less and less. But it should never come to a sudden stop. So then I just blur it and try to get that invisible gray. Oh, and then this side, now I can, with my dirty little blunt, I could push this up a little bit just so it's slightly shadowy on the bottom. There. But then where is my brightest spot? Where the light source is coming from. So I'm actually going to clean it, make sure I don't have any graphite right there. And if you weren't here, this is an artist pencil. I'm an artist eraser, and it's so much better than those stupid pink erasers from a number 2 pencil. Number 2 is the hardest graphite, right? And then that pink eraser is plastic, so it doesn't actually pick up it just smears it. It's terrible. But once you use one of these, you're like, this actually erases anything I want. You're like, you could push back that shadow and then go back and soften it again. It's like, that's so awesome. You couldn't do that with the number 2 pencil. Okay, you want to try a different one? So who got dark, medium, light? Right? If you were looking at a real object, you could actually see the shadow and then go, did it go at least halfway? Right? At least halfway is what we want. You want to try a different direction? So if it was we can make it so it's I was just thinking a different way of doing that. You want to try it again and see if it's with a different pencil. The softest one is 4B. And look how much darker and easier it is. Holy cow. So where's the shadow again? So how many times would you have to shadow a circle before your brain fully understood it? A quadrillion times, right? So you're like, oh, I don't get it yet. So how long have you been on the planet? 17 years? That's not long enough in the universe to know anything unless you've done it a whole bunch, right? So you're like, oh, who cares? I'll make some ugly, this is ugly, and I'm throwing this piece of paper away, so I don't even care. But we're gonna, and then to make the shadow, and then see how it blends. Look how much darker that is. And it's so much faster. Remember how a number 2 pencil, how long you'd have to scribble to get that? You're like, oh my God, that would take forever. And then blend it and go, oh, it's so soft. But it has a completely flat top, our shadow. Because it's a table. And then underneath it, try to make invisible blur. So the blur would be the lightest. So it's darkest at the top, medium, then light with just pushing around some baby powder, right? And it's invisible. And just watching it happen, you're like, I've always wondered how they did that because they weren't using a number 2. You're like, oh, no. Okay, now let's try our shadow in the same way. I'd used the tip of my paintbrush and it made a sharp scratch. I'm trying to use the side of my paintbrush pencil because it makes like the texture is different. And look how much more surface I get when I use the side. The surface, the tip only gives me a tiniest piece. So why do we hold our pencil like this when we write? Why do we hold it like this? Because the number 2 pencil is so hard that we had to have a grip that could push down on the paper and scratch the graphite. So this is the most pressure you can put to get your letters to come out, right? But when you draw, unless you're drawing a line, you almost never hold a pencil like this. It's too much pressure and it's too hard to erase. So you're almost always like this. So you're, oh, it's not a pencil, it's a tool. And you're just you're just moving graphite around. You're not writing anything. It's just a way of getting to control the amount of graphite that comes out. Okay, now I did my half moon. Where should it be darkest? Where it touches the shadow. Obviously, it's in the dark, 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 dark. The darkest, darkest touching the shadow. But then that needs to blend away and disappear less, but it's a half moon shape. Okay, that's okay. It's all right. But look at all those ugly scribbles. Now I get to use this paper blend. And how come you can use your finger? Like when you're in class and you're bored and you're playing with your, you're just drawing on the side of your paper. You can use your finger, but it adds oil to the graphite and then that pink eraser stops working. That's why when you write like this, you're actually getting the oils from your hand and it actually makes it worse. But now I'm going to blend this and see if I can't get a nice, oh my God, look at even my blend came completely black. Wow. Okay. And I'm making oh, where's the light source again? Boop, boop, boop. Right, it's coming from this angle. So then first I want to change the texture because I don't like seeing my lines. So I just keep touching it until my lines are gone. But my piece of paper is picking up the black chalk. So then, well, chalk, graphite. And then I make it less, and I try to keep going. I go back over it and see if I can't get how many colors for 3D? A minimum of 3, dark, medium, light. So do I have the darkest in the bottom, touching the shadow? Yep. Does it go medium away from that up the side? Yes. And then it has to go lighter and lighter and lighter and lighter and lighter and lighter. Awesome. And then I can even make sure it's clean with my little eraser. So look at the difference between if you change pencils, look at the difference between your depth of color. So this one was a harder pencil, and it's like, oh, that does not come out at all. This was close to a number 2, right? An H. She's not quite a number 2, which is the hardest. But then this one comes out, oh, nice. Okay, now let's switch to chalk. Find your black chalk. You're going to love it. But I always break my chalks trying to get them out. I can't get it out. Okay, there, I got it. Okay. Try this one. Now watch how, oops, I just moved the camera. Sorry. What'd I do? Get out of here. Oh. There, sorry. Okay, now we'll use this one and do the exact same thing. It's repeat, repeat. How come? Because we're just exploring. We're just playing. It's a mystery. And the only way to solve the mystery. So if you watched me draw, would you be a better drawer? No. The only way to learn on earth is to do something. So if you watch the teacher do math, you don't learn math. If you do the math, your brain goes, oh, I get it. So let's try it with chalk. Same, oh my God. Look at it. Oops. There, I wasn't even in camera. Okay, there. And then, what? It's still gonna do the exact same thing. And so how soft is the chalk, right? Chalk, they made this with some, chalk is actually a type of rock too, but it's made from crushed shells, ancient crushed shells, right? So it comes apart very, very easy, right? So now I'm gonna do that same thing and see if I can't, oh my God. And then it's very dark, and then I try to go away and do it less dark, last dark. Look at these, look like a bunch of scribbles. I hate it. But luckily, I know that my little blendy's gonna do this. It's gonna fix that for me. And then look at how black your fingers are. That's how soft it is. It literally can come apart on any surface. Right? And then it mixes with your oils and becomes like, that's gonna get on your clothes. It's a mess. Don't scratch your nose. And then there's your blend and make your shadow. What? Look at the texture of that. And then once I make my line, I can go further away, further away, further away, further away, shadow disappearing. I'm not gonna stop if I have a straight line. I have to go until it's invisible. Oh my gosh, I had to go, it wasn't running out. I had to go far. And I just had to blow. You know why? Because the chalk was being scraped off at the same time, like colored pencils do. And then I can go. And we're just exploring. It's just curious. Look how much softer that is. What? Look at all, every time I start and stop with it, it makes a mark and I hate it. That's not smooth. Well, just keep doing it. And it will go less and less and less and less. And now I'm just using whatever's left on my little, and I do go up the side a little bit on this side. Just, I just went outside the lines. F, fail. No, I'm just kidding. Okay, I hate these marks. Hate them, hate them, hate them. That is not smooth. That was every time my little blendy stopped. It scratched a whole bunch off. Well, how about if I use this gummy eraser? I don't want to use this one. The white one, the drafting eraser, she's too precise. She'll do an exact line using the corner. What if I use this gummy one? And it will just pick up some of this chalk. Oh yeah, and it won't be so perfect. There. So I can do that little part again. And now I'm gonna go back and see if I can't do it in bigger strokes, softer. There. Every time I stop my paintbrush, it makes an ugly mark. So I'm gonna try it again. Okay, softer. Don't stop so hard. It goes, Arr! And then suddenly stopping is a lot of pressure, right? So a lot comes out and you're like, oh, that's interesting. So and now I'm making this circle right here. Everybody pause and look. I'm making a circle. I'm basically drawing a circle around my light source. And then it should be disappearing, 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 less, less, less. Oh, I got some on there. Get off. Then my most bright spot should be in the center, right? I need to go and fix some of these. I can still see my scribbles. It's fun. Oh, I did it again. Look at those starts and stops. See, I draw and I still do it. But I could pick it up with my gummy eraser. Because I'm not using my white one because she'll make a straight line. You're like, what is happening? Too hard to fix. Isn't that neat? Look what you made. You're like, I never shadowed before. Well, so? And then my fingers are dirty though. I don't like it. Because you know why? Why don't I like dirty fingers as an artist? Because it will start ruining and get on and make smudgy marks on my paper. So I will stop and wash my hands sometimes because having this stuff on your hands ruins the rest of your drawing. And then people are like, what are these shadows supposed to be? Nothing! Don't look at them. Okay, now we can turn the page. Are you guys done? Was that fun? It was just like for curious, right? You're like, oh, shadowing. You want to try it with colored pencils and make an apple? All right. Your enthusiasm is overwhelming. New paper. And get your cup and just put it right in the middle. Boom. So if I'm going to do this, I'm going to do it as super soft. I'm going to get my number 2. How come? The one I was just using, that 4B, is really dark. I'll put that one away. Goodbye. And go get my 2 and circle it. I did it soft. I hope you can see it. Boop. Oh, you can't see it. Let me do it harder just so you can see. But you do yours soft because we're going to erase part of it. I'm going to do mine harder so you can see. There, better. A little better. But is an apple perfectly round? No. How come? Because she's a pregnant flower. So she's not perfectly round. But can we just give her a dent right here? And let it drop down a little bit? Because where the stem comes, just cut off the top a little bit. Like that. And then erase the top of the circle with my awesome white paper. So it goes dent. Whoops. I didn't do it good. I want to go lower. But look at, how did I know it was wrong? My eye told me it was wrong. I knew it wasn't deep enough. How come? I've seen lots of apples, and I know that it has a deep dent at the top. So I just erased. Look how good it erases. So I just made a dent at the top, and it's like a finger big. It's at least a finger dip, right? But then a finger away would be where the stem comes out. And I just literally put my finger in it and trace my finger, and look, my finger is nice and curved. That's the dent where the stem comes out. But is it perfectly round on the bottom? No, let's have it come. It's at its fattest point. It's perfectly round, but it tapers a little, and taper means it gets slightly smaller. I'm going to shave off a little bit so I can have more sharper edges. And all I did was take a micro. Let me do it harder so you can see. I just want to cut off slightly. It sits on the bottom, but it's not perfectly round. Just go. Oh yeah. Let me just get rid of. It's just so it tapers a little bit at the bottom, and she goes boop, but just a little bit. She's not a pear. Oh, I just made a terrible line. Good thing I have an eraser. I'm gonna do mine over. F. Okay. I like the white erasers. Fixie. There. And we can do this apple using color pencils, and then we can you could try it with chalk. Won't the chalk be way more brighter? So remember when we were playing with the colored pencils? Let me show you again. So this is colored pencil, right? And remember how I scratched harder and harder with the pencil? Eventually the colored pencil just starts to scratch off the layers of colored pencil itself because it's a number 2 hard. But this dark one is the chalk because she's so soft, right? So we can do it in color pencil, and we can do it in pencil. So, okay, so we have to figure out where our light source is coming from. Let's just do it exactly the way we did our circle, okay? So I need my color pencils. So I from this one, I only need a brown, right? I'm gonna pick dark brown. Dark brown, thank you. And then the rest can say goodbye. Goodbye. And then go get these ones. So I'm going to add I don't need purple for an apple, right? Ooh, but that light green. What if it was a green apple? That would be fun. Okay, I got brown. And this is going to be my shadow. So how do you make the shadow? Exactly the same way as the circle. So we practiced. So And then tip of my pencil. No, side of my paintbrush. I'm almost laying her down flat so I can have more of a surface area. There, look how hard I had to scratch. Go! It's not at all like pencil because she's number 2 hard. So, there. And then I can use my blunt, right, or my finger. And try to get it like that. Look, my finger didn't do nothing. But I bet my blunt will. Because I could push harder. I could push way harder. And look how much pressure I'm using with my finger. I'm pushing all the way down. And now she makes a blurry edge. Okay, okay. Otherwise, it's just a box. So how many color values in a shadow do you need? 3. The darkest is where it touches the apple. Medium is where it starts to go away, right? And then it has very, very light edges, but not the top, because that's the top of the table, right? So underneath it gets blurred. Okay, now let's make the shadow. So, okay, so in your book, it was telling you about different kinds of textures. I like tiny scribbles. Okay, but you're going to have I swear, you're going to say, oh, I can't do it like her. Don't do it like me. Whatever texture you use is the right texture because it's the way that you handwrite. You've been handwriting for this long, so the way that the amount of pressure you're used to using and how big and how curvy your little lines are is how your style is. Your style of writing will be the style of your drawing. So unless you're in some kind of college art class and he wants you to do the cross hatching, which is making a bunch of X's, no, we want the texture of our apple to look round. So however you do it is correct. So you just go, oh yeah, let's just put the shadow, the brown shadow on our apple. And can we go back and make this darker brown later? Yes! Let's just put down a layer of color. Remember when we flipped through that book and they showed how many times they went back and added more color? That is true. Because you're guessing the whole time. But look, it's not a perfect, it comes to a tiny, look at how it comes to a tiny point at the top. Like that. How come? She's not perfectly round anymore. She's round-ish, right? I can always go back and add more, and I just want to blend that. I always blend because I don't like the scratchy marks. Oh, and you don't have to darken it all the way to the edge. This is because of how light is. Let me see that a little bit. Light wraps around a circle and makes a bright edge. I'll show you. Okay, so whoop. So the edge is actually, look at that shadow, but look at next to the shadow is brighter because light wraps around a circle. So it doesn't actually touch the edge. Look at, and then he went back and added even black, right? But this one is more like us, right? This is more like us. Okay, so it doesn't actually touch the edge. Now we can get, let's decide where the brightness should be. It would be this little corner, like a nickel big, right? And we'll get a little bit of yellow. Let's get just regular yellow. And wait. You can't draw white on, right? So if you want it white, means don't put any color there. So if literally my finger, I want it to be pure white, I can't ever, so I'll go around that and make sure that I don't put any, the only way to get, oh, my finger was dirty. Oh yeah, graphite comes off with my, see? I don't like dirty fingers. Okay, and then I went around it with the yellow, but I'm gonna let it be like that. Super light. No! And then, how's your scribbles? You're just like coloring when you were coloring booking, you know, when you're a BB and you just scribble. And then the more times you go over it, the brighter, the darker it is, right? Around and around and around. And then I also learned that I don't like the start, stop, start, stop, start like that. I tend to go big, little, small, little, big, little, small, little, big, little, small, big, medium, small, big, little, because otherwise I get this weird zigzag too much. I don't like it. Okay, so then let's go and get a little bit of there's two reds. One is called magenta, right? They have names on them, and one is red. Let's get magenta. You know why? Because magenta and yellow makes the prettiest peach of all time ever. But where is my brightest spot? Right there. Nothing ever will go in there again. So I'm going to sneak up to the outside edge of my yellow and see if I can add a little bit of magenta to it. Outside edge. Oops. Ooh. Neat. But I could use my, oh, I need a clean spot though. It needs to be clean. And now I'm going to scribble magenta and yellow together with my blend. Oh, look how good that looks. But I used a clean spot because I don't want to get graphite on it. Oh, and you have another one, a babier one. Here she is. Right, there's a smaller one and she's clean. Or you sharpen it and that will scratch off all this graphite off. Right, and it just comes off like that. Okay, now I'm gonna use red and go further away with red and make a red magenta. Uh-oh, but not where my finger dent is. Right, so I gotta go up to that, not that. Red. Okay, now I gotta mix red and magenta before I go any further. Red and magenta. Push the red and the magenta and the red and the red and the magenta right there. I scribbled them together. Uh-oh. Look, I got color pencil in that little, I gotta get rid of that. Goodbye. Where'd my eraser go? Okay, now let's do the same thing to the inside of this. You know how where the stem comes out, it's yellow in there? Yellow and green in here. So let's get the yellow and fill this little hole right here. It's like a smile, 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 smile. Rainbow, rainbow, rainbow. There, and I'm pushing really hard to make it yellow. And then add red and red. And I gotta scribble it together. Oh my God, I made it orange. Oh, look, that's terrible. Look, they look like two flags came together like that. I did that terrible. I need to put yellow on my red or something because it came to a stop as a straight line. That's an F. I need to make it round. It actually has to be a smile shape. The texture matters. And it has to disappear inside of the yellow. So I have dark red at the top. Then less red out there. Now you can't see that line. Goodbye line. Now I'm going to scribble it. Okay, better. That line was harsh, right? Now let's color the whole apple red and go right over the brown. Am I using magenta? I'm using magenta. Oh, wow. I meant to use red. They're hard to see. So look at how we can still see the paper through that. We can still see the paper, but if I blend it, it helps get rid of the paper more. And now look at my brown compared to the red. No, that doesn't even look like a shadow. It looks like my apple got bruised, right? So let's make the shadow darker. And then put red on it. Make sure I grab red. And make it reddish brown. So how many color values do you need for 3D? 3, dark, medium, light. So if it looks really flat, it's because everything's in medium. You have to be really ready to scribble and push down hard. Actually starts to cramp my finger. And then do it softer, 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 softer. Right, and then we have a 3. Oh, and then the little stem can come out here. It's just a little bended stick. And then so shouldn't my stick have a shadow? So go smile, smile, and then I make it really blurry on the edges. Running out. Oh, I should use my blunt. So is that stem 3D? No. How come? Because she's just brown. What if I get my pencil, and I'll use the pencil, you know, the graphite, and use her as black, and I'll put it on the shadow side. Now I have now it's 3D because I have a little black. And then the shadow can bend over my apple a little bit out of graphite, and it's just the exact same shot. Oh, it has to be attached. I forgot. Shadows are attached to their object. And they're like, what is it? Oh, look, I went outside the lines everywhere. So I can fix it. Look at my dirty fingers. So now we have an apple. Oh, look at the tops are still rough. Let me go back and fix it. I don't think I went and did the edges with the blunt either. And then can I go back and put more? Yes. Can I put less? Yes. No, you can't put less. You have to use an eraser. You know what? I'm looking at my shadow on the bottom. This does not look right. It definitely needs to be bigger. It needs to be bigger. Let's see if I do it bigger. Just there. That looks better because mine was too skinny. I'll go back. They're bigger. That's better. So we just did that with color. So how many color values are we rooting for? 3. So do you have really dark red? Really pushed hard? What's the dark red? Right there on top of the shadow? Yeah. Right? How about the brown? Watch this. Can I go even darker with the brown? Yes. Now it's even dark. Now it's more 3D because I'm not afraid to go all the way dark. Who wants to do it with chalk? Don't you think chalk would be better? Let's just draw over this with chalk. Okay, so get your yellow and put your yellow. Oh wait. Where is my brightest spot? Nothing goes inside of it, even my dirty finger. And look how, oop, I broke it. Why am I always breaking my chalk? So I just go, ooh, oh my gosh, look at how much brighter it is. And then get red. Oh wait, pink. That's what we did. Pink. Let me try using my finger blending. Oh my god. I blended with my finger with the chalk. That is way more funner. Okay, now it's pinky yellow. And then I can switch to red. Now I'm gonna start in the shadow because I don't know how hard to push with this. I haven't used it yet. So I'm gonna test it where I know it's darkest. Oh, so much darker. Look at all this powder. Oh. Uh-oh. Look at that hard edge I just put. F. So what's the one tool that can get colored pencil off? The little gummy one. So how do you, oh no, I got the gummy in there. You just fold it over and stretch it out and it's all clean. Right, and then you fold it over on itself. So if this is what 4-dimension is, by the way, if you never understand 4-dimension, it's that I use the 2-dimensional surface to clean it off, but then I use the 4th dimension, which is folding it over on itself. So how much surface do I have I can use? Every time I pull it apart is a new clean surface. So it's four dimensions, if that makes any sense to you. Being able to manipulate a shape is 4 dimensions. Okay, now I can use the brown. Ooh, oh, broke it, see? Look how much darker brown can be. So chalk has a totally different texture. And I can even, what about black? What about black? Could I just add a little bit? How dark does 3D go? I'm gonna put black at the very, very bottom and in my shadow. Hey, it's too sharp. It's scratching the chalk off. I have to make there, use the side. The corner is too sharp. Now I'm gonna use my finger, blendy, blendy. Oh, giving it permission to be darker makes it more 3D. Dark, medium, light, but look at my fingers. And I have white pants on. So I can't, usually if I have jeans, I'll just wipe them off on my jeans. I know, put it on the... So who thinks that's better than you thought you would have done, right? 3D, dark, medium, light, a shape, a little hole for your stem to come out of. You have the brightest area, a medium area, a darker area, the darkest. We blended. Okay, you want to make a landscape? We'll make a quick landscape, right? And if you can't draw objects, it's because you don't draw all the time. People who draw all the time, their hand and their eye tells them what shape it needs to be, and they'll fix it and fix it. If you can't draw objects because you haven't been drawing all the time, draw landscapes. So fun because your brain relaxes and gets so calm. So let's turn the page. But, oh, because we're not using this big paper. That's right. We need to use the little paper. So you're going to notice how absolutely ickier this paper is. But I want to use it small because, oh, look, this is where I ripped that on one picture and it tore because it's a cheap. I bought these for you guys, the big pads, because I knew you'd want to draw nice. These are cheap. Look how thin it just rips. Okay, that's what happened to the top of my picture, right? And could I go back over this or do it with chalk? Yes. Well, let's just draw it first. So this is, look at how I'm in the medium world because I did this really fast this morning, but I'm medium. Boring. So I still used dark green, light green, and yellow. I still used blue, purple, pink, and yellow in my sky and all that. But it's just not enough color. It's so medium. So it's not dark, medium, light. Okay. So let me put my my brown back. Whoops! All my pencils are falling. Come back. There. Put this one back. So I could put them right here so you can see. There. So if we're gonna do the sky first, so get dark blue, and I played with both of these blues. okay? They are the exact same color. And you look at them and you say, no, they're not. But you have to plus white paper. So I go, oh, let me put the blue. And then I put this light blue thinking it would be a different color. It's just less dark blue. It doesn't, nobody cares. So when you do a landscape, you always do it in thirds, right? It's called balance. So we do a third sky and 2/3 land. That's all. You remember when we did beach? A third sky, 2/3 water, and just like a little bit of sand. But it's always broken down into thirds. And then even when we did the trees climbed over a whole 2/3 into your painting like this. Well, that's balance. Okay, so we're gonna get our blue pencil and we're just gonna cut it into thirds, right? So it's like a hand would be, a whole hand would be a 2/3. That's the horizon line. Just draw that. And why are we using the little paper? Because the big paper, it would take all day to scribble to get the color out, right? And then I would like some white clouds, which means I'm not going to put, I'm going to save a few spots for white clouds, but I have to tell you, white clouds are shaped like UFOs, not like circles. They're UFOs. They usually have flat bottoms. Okay, so don't make one of these like when you were little. It was M, all, but they're more like ovals. And then they're not the same size. I have this size, this size, this size. No, there'd be an itty bitty one, a big one, a medium sized one, right? So just draw like some scribbly UFOs. There's a big one, and then a medium sized one, and then an itty bitty baby one, and then a big one, and then a medium sized one. Okay, there. Whoops. Let me do it darker so you can see. Oh, different sizes. Oh, they're touching. So it's a cloud. And then the texture of clouds is fluffy. So the texture of my scribble is fluffy. So like, oh, I'm going to ruin this. It's going to come out ugly. After this class, can you just wad it up and throw it in the trash? Yes. This is just for experience. Nobody cares. Okay, just play, enjoy, color, decorate. So now that I have my where it's going to stay, I'm going to try to keep them clean, right? Now, oh, and because the sky of which we'll just use the horizontal lines to represent the sky. So we just go side to side and paint it blue. I mean, color it blue. And I'm using the side of my pencil. I don't have to touch the edges and fall off the edge. It looks kind of cool if you don't touch the edges. And then how many color values do you want in your sky? 3. So do you have super dark blue areas, light blue areas, medium blue areas? What's another way of decorating a sky? Can we put some purple in the sky? Yes, we can. So let's find purple. But purple will be our shadow. So wherever I would like it to be slightly darker, I put purple. Purple. But do we ever let them be start, stop, start, stop, start, stop? No. I come back with my blending stick and blur the edges. You disappear, edges. I don't want to see. There. It's more blurry. Ooh, more purple in this corner. Purple. Do I put purple everywhere? No, just in little patches. And what else goes in a sky? Pink? Where's my magenta? I better put my pencils away. They're all out of order. Magenta. And let's put magenta on the bottom of our clouds. It will be the shadow of our cloud, like the sun's coming up. But all I did was make straight lines. That's not right. Let me fluff it up so it's more scribbly, like a... Let me ruin it a little. It's a little perfect. They're all perfectly flat. No, clouds are fluffy, so I want my texture to be a little weird and fluffy there. Now let's put yellow. The top of the cloud will stay perfectly white, right? Now let's mix. This is exactly how we did apple. Yellow in the, what? Yellow, it makes like an orange, magenta, and yellow. What if I get some yellow in my blue? Green. So, I don't care. I'm just playing with my colors. Whee! Look it, I did a formation of UFOs. They made a V formation. We're being invaded. Okay. Okay, now we'll do a mountain and or hills, right? And the trick is they do not go like this and they don't make waves like this. What? That is same size, 2 fingers, 2 fingers, 2 fingers. Even the dents are 2 fingers big, right? No. So put it, here's the center of your drawing. Put your tallest peak off center, like a bump, right? Just pick one, just make a mountain, right? And is it perfectly smooth like a V? No, you can make it a little bumpy. Like if you had a stroke, it'd be like the most perfect mountain ever. Could it be bumpy? Now, remember when we made clouds, and clouds are never the same. There's big, small, medium. Same with hills. Maybe a medium-sized hill. And they're also different longness. They're not the same. They're long, right? So then there'd be a medium long one. Oops, see, this paper's so thin. I just ripped my paper and I went through. And then maybe a baby one. Just to break up the pattern so they're not matchy-matchy. Look, I matched them. 2 fingers big, 2 fingers big, 2 Why? Because I'm a human, and since I was in school, they told me to make everything evenly spaced apart. Every letter, every number. So, okay, let me try again. Let me ruin it so I get some ugly bumps. There. I'm intentionally making them more ugly. Okay, there. And then, now I can give them a flat bottom. There. And the purple will be the shadow. I keep falling in that rip that I made. The purple will be the shadow, and then I put blue. And it's bluish purple. Oh, no, purple looks way better. And why do mountains and hills look purple from a distance? It's the same reason that our sky looks blue. It's nitrogen in the atmosphere reflecting off of the mountains. If you were then in the mountains, they'd be gray or green with trees, but from a distance they look purple. You're looking through the air, and the air has purple nitrogen in it. Purplish blue. That's all those gases in the air. Have you ever seen a sunset in pollution is prettier? How come? Because it's reflecting off all those gas molecules in the sky. Okay, now let's make a river. So if I cut, now what's left is 2/3, right? Cut it in half, and about 3 fingers from the side, just put a little line like this. That's my river. I would like my river to bump into that. So it's either side, it doesn't matter. But I needed to go from little to big, right? This is called perspective. So look at where my mountain is. I'm going to make it attached to my mountain. So it's little right here, little. And then it comes out and it goes S, woo. And then it gets and then I parallel to that, but when I get close to the bottom, it goes really wide at the bottom, like that. But why did I put this? Because I need to make my S. So touch your mountain and head straight for it. Whee! Boink! And then I curve like that, right? It was just trying to say be 3 fingers from the edge. So we put that line first. Now let's do the why does everything get small from a distance? It's our perspective. Did you know they only learned perspective drawing during the Roman times? Before that, everything was 2-dimensional. I know. Perspective drawing because they knew math, and math goes from big to small. So we go, then I'm going to go parallel, and it goes little, and then I go bigger and farther away from it, and farther away from it, and farther away from it, until it's humongous. So whatever S you did to start, I just make sure it goes from 3 fingers at the bottom to no fingers at the top. And what if you do this wrong? Throw it in the garbage. Nobody cares. So what would the water be? Well, the water has to be horizontal, just like the sky, because it's actually reflecting the sky. So we're going to put clouds in our water, but everything has to be this way. And then the sides of the waters is darker blue. How come? Because shadows, right? I go, okay, so where's my blue? So I'm just going to go, oh, I forgot. So don't go like this. Start, stop, start, stop, start, stop, start, stop, start, stop. It'll be the same thickness the whole way down. Be a little spastic. Big, little, small, little, big, little, small, little, big, little, small, 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 big, little, small, little, big. Because we don't want to see that perfect pattern of start, stop, all the same size. So I just, I learned this trick because I didn't like how everything looked like tubes. Why are all these stripes? So I just ruined it. So it goes big, little, small, little, big, little, small, little. So I just go big, little, small, little, big, 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 small, 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 big, little, small, 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 big, 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 small, 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 big, 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 small, small, big, big, little. Look, I'm still doing it the same pattern. That's me trying. Okay, I'll go back and I'll do it twice. I'll do it way more than that. Let me just at least get one layer. Hey, look at my little blues getting all stubby. It's time to sharpen. And not so it's pointy, but that I have more surface area. Where's my eraser? I mean my sharpener. Oh, there you are. Because I want that long edge. Not the tip. Nobody cares about the tip. Right? And then do you notice, without even trying, you keep spinning your pencil around as you go? Did you know that's automatic? It's built into your brain. So as you're like, oh, that's not working, so you turn your paintbrush, or turn your pencil. It's totally true. Okay, now look at how much more surface area I have. So much better. The sides. Wait, what if we let's draw some clouds reflecting in our water? Does it have to be the same matching clouds as these? No, but they are shaped like UFOs. So I just go, oh yeah, so I'll put a one there. Now, whatever else I put, I can't make that same size, so I'll make a medium-sizey one. Oh! That's the exact same size. 2 fingers, 2 fingers. Why do I constantly repeat the same pattern? Because I'm human. And it's my parents' fault because they were human. So your humanness wants you to repeat that pattern. Okay, I'll try a baby one on purpose. I'll focus better. Long skin there. If I do it fast, I will repeat. And then another little baby one down, long and skinny on the bottom. So how did we draw those? Magenta on the bottom, then yellow. Let's repeat. Yellow. Whee! And I like crushing the yellow into the magenta. really hard, and it makes them mix. It makes a pretty, pretty color. Uh-oh, mine looks like a perfectly straight line. It looks bad. Why is that bad? Because that is not the texture on a cloud. It's supposed to be fuzzy. So let me make it rougher and weirder. Ruin it. Ruin that straight line. Ruin it. Script, ruin. Ugly, up and down. Long piece there. Okay, there. I was doing it all straight. It's not perfectly straight. There. I ruined it. Okay, now let's make it blue. And just go around those. And just make some, I need some white pieces left. So I just put some blue just to fill it in. Hello. I'm attaching the two, look what I just did. Finger spaced apart. Oh, you can't see. Okay, let me ruin that pattern. Let me at least make them different sizes. Silly. There. And then what else was in our sky? Some purple. Oops, I covered over my white. I would like some white shimmers in my water. Okay, now we're going to put grass. But which is grass going to be side to side, horizontal, vertical, up and down, up and down, up and down. But how many color values do we need for 3D? 3. So I have this super, super dark green. Her name is Permanent Green. Right? She's super, super dark. Let's make a shadow in the corners of this super, super dark green. But we'll do it like we did that shadow on our apple, where it slightly, it comes up the side, like a frame. And then I'll do a row of, it gets more invisible, more invisible, more invisible, more invisible. And then I could get the one that's just called green, and I can go over, right over that dark green, and they'll make a new color green. So is that green 3D yet? No, let's go down even darker. Dark, medium, light. How about some brown in the darkest, darkest? Like we did with the apple. Because how many color values do you need for 3D? 3. Now it goes dark, and it's, what is this? These corners gonna do? It's gonna force your eye into the middle of the painting or the drawing. So the dark corners push your eye up like this, like a little V. Okay, and then we'll use the yellow. And we'll just make it so it goes very yellow, not very yellow, run out. So it's most yellow next to the, because purple and yellow are opposites on the color wheel. So they look really pretty together. So it's going to be very yellow at the top. And then I go less yellow, very yellow, not very yellow, running out. Can you see that? That's hard to see, the camera. But now I'm going to get my green and climb all over my yellow. And get it to go have my green. It's just the one that says green. And I just go, oh, well now I'm going to make, that's a stripe. I meant to use the side of my paintbrush for texture. And I'm making greenish yellow. Because I'm letting green and yellow be friends and mix together. And then yellow is also a dry grass, right? Doesn't it get drier closer to the hills? Yes. And greener next to the water? Yes. I had to turn, I turned my pencil. I felt myself turn it because the side was getting too pointy. Well, how about next to our water? Is that 3D next to our water? No. Wouldn't the grass be the darkest because it's all muddy next to our water? So let's get our brown and just make some, but I don't want it to be the same thickness the whole time. So I go dark, medium, medium, dark, dark. I mean, big, little, big, little, big, 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 little. Oh, smaller, 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 smaller. Then big, little, big, 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 small, 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 big, big. Darkest next to the water. And then the dark green. What was her name again? Permanent green. Where'd I put her? Oh, she's so dark. She looks black. And then she could be next to the water too. And why am can I put grass in my water? Yes. But now I'm vertical lines and I am in the water. Why? Because these are little grasses sticking out of my water. I don't even care. And is the edge of my water perfectly smooth? I don't want to see that line anymore. I don't like it. So I'm just going to make vertical scribbles over it. And then I could put green next on top of that and try to make the green disappear into the brown. You know what else you can do this with? Crayons. Everyone's like, oh, crayons are dumb, right? But now you can stare at it and go, okay, the green needs to at least go darker, at least to halfway. It needs to get look at this, is way too light right here in this corner. It needs to climb up more. It needs to be darker. And then this is another reason, because it's a flip, right? If I was to go like this, that what the same level of darkness at the top is usually the same value of darkness on the bottom. So I'm just going to make it darker with my permanent green. It needed to be darker near the water because it didn't do that upside down flip where it's this much dark sky. So then it should be this much dark green on the bottom. So look, it's a third. The middle third is bright. The bottom third is dark. So that's always in thirds. It's called balance, and it's the way the human brain perceives beauty, is in thirds. And then that means the water, the blue water, has to be darker down here. So it's the same value family. And you know what value is, right? It's dark, medium, light. Dark, medium, light is the values of dark, medium, light, right? So now that I made it darker blue down here, and I'm even going to put purple down here in the shadow. I just ripped the paper. Crappy paper. So look, now I have, now it looks more balanced just by doing this, because a third is dark, the middle third is light. And then what else did we learn? Dark, medium, light. So if I look at this shadow, do I have the darkest areas? Do I have medium areas? Do I have light areas? Yep. And how about the water? Is it darkest at the bottom of the picture? Darkest, the mediumest, the lightest? Yep. And then how about my grass? Dark, dark green, medium, yellow, right? And how about my mountains? And do I have variation of shape? Do I have dark purple parts in my mountains? Dark, medium, light, right? Well, yeah. How about my sky? Dark, medium, light blue, dark, medium, light pink. It's always true. It just repeats itself. Look what a good job you did. Do you guys want to do this? Go over this with chalk and make it darker? Because you're like, this is taking too long with my coloring pencils. How come they take so long? Because they're a number 2 and really hard. But what if we go over it with the chalk? So I could put yellow, using it like a crayon, using it like the side. Just go super yellow. Look how much more yellow that is. Yellow in my clouds. Then pink in my clouds. Whee! Makes me want to put pink in my grass, but I won't. And then my dark green. And my green. Oh, let me break it. And then super green. Not very green. Running out of green. This green isn't very soft. Not as soft as yellow. And then I put green in my yellow. Look how much more color comes out. And then I can use the blue and the purple in my water and in my sky. Oh, look at how much more blue she is. I'm using the flat side. I'm not using a corner. The corner would come out too sharp. So I'm just going like this and just wee, 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 dash, 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 dash. And then in my water, dash, 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 dash. Smash, smash, smash. And then some pink in my water. Pink and blue just makes purple, so I'm not scared of that. And then I could put the purple and the brown, put the brown in that bottom corner. It's way brighter. Huh. Because it's softer, so the color comes out more and it dissolves, right? Because the molecules are farther apart, so they come apart, just like the graphite. So graphite becomes a diamond under pressure. It's just carbon, but this is chalk, right? Colored chalk. And chalk is also a rock made out of old shells, but graphite is made out of old burnt plant material, right? And the only thing left behind is its carbon. So the reason why are they I'm going to put all these back. So why are they softer? Because the molecules are farther apart, so they come apart easier. The graphite and number 2 is very tight together. So how tight is a diamond? They are so tight that they're the hardest thing on the surface of the earth. But they all come from carbon. What is the source of all life in the universe? Carbon. But what's the most common element in the earth or in the universe? It's also calcium. You know your bones? Your bones is made out of rocks called calcium. These are rocks. So how did your body know to assemble rocks in the form of a skeleton? I don't know. But this calcium is the basis of all rocks in the universe. Everything sticks to calcium. So you're like, what? I know. So what is carbon? It's got calcium in it. What are diamonds? Got calcium in it. Could have been old bones from 1 billion years ago. We don't know. So let's look at what we made, right? So, and then the density of our colors is how soft they are, right? So there's this drawing. Let's go back and see what we learned. Whoops, I just dropped everything. Okay, and then we used a number of, what was it? A 2, right? Just to see. And then we did it in a 4, right? And then we did it in the chalk. So who's the darkest? Chalk, because she's the softest, so she dissolves very fast. And then we practiced when we first started to try all the pencils and see how they blend and see how they erase, right? So who wants to know how to draw like objects? I'm telling you, the only way to learn how to draw objects is first to try to trace them and teach your brain, then try to do it by yourself and do it 50 times, the same way you learned how to write the letter A. Remember when you were in kindergarten and it was a line, then dot, 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 then a line, those little worksheets, and you had to do it like that? But how many times did your little brain have to do it? So you have to teach your hand. So the people who draw all the time, on the side of their paper, on the back of their paper, they draw all the time, they have taught their hand to do what their mind was picturing by constantly drawing. So you're like, I don't have that skill. I wasn't born knowing how to draw. No, you weren't born with the desire to draw. Does that make sense? The desire is what makes you doodle all day long. I don't desire to draw all day long. Well, then don't. It's not your passion. But if you love to draw, you just do it and do it and do it. And your skill gets more and more. It's like if you were a welder, right? You know that welders make $120,000 to $250,000 a year to weld. But the difference between $120,000 and $250,000 is how much they have practiced and how good they are. So an apprentice would make $50,000 a year because, forget you don't know what you're doing, right? But then a master, he gets $250,000 a year because they could put him in any situation with any two pieces of objects and makes a solid bond, right? So that's why he gets paid more. It's for the number of times that he's done it, that his hand and his mind has mastered it. So you're like, I don't know how to do that. Of course you haven't. You've been alive in the world in 17 years. That's not long enough in the universe to know anything. So you're just like, well, I don't know how. Okay, then start doing it. And eventually your brain learns it. You're on Earth, and you only learn stuff on Earth by doing, right? If you watch the teacher do math, did you learn math? No. Doing math teaches you math, which is so annoying because but you know your brain is never more excited, literally firing and excited than when you learn something. Who would play a video game that was easy, right? You play them because they're hard. That's when your brain is the most excited. So as soon as your job gets boring, do you know you blame your family and your coworkers and you get angry? Because you're bored. And you're like, oh, I need to ask my boss to help me change jobs. I already know how to do this and I'm bored out of my mind and I'm actually getting angry about it. Your brain hates to be bored. So you just got to change jobs. Well, can I learn something else then? I already learned this, right? And then your brain's like, oh, and you're all like intense. You guys did a really good job. Did you learn a lot? And then I switched back to my camera, right? So you guys learned how to do all this stuff in just 2 hours. You can imagine that if you take an art class in junior college or high school or whatever, they actually give you all this time to play with these skills. Like, I can't take an art class. I'll just make a fool of myself. It will just look ugly. It's like, well, at first, right? So you just go, oh, I don't know how to do this. It's like, okay, I just figure it out. I don't know. And you just do what he tells you and see how it comes out. And the worst grade you can get is they grade you so easy in art too, because if you try hard. But you know who gives up? As soon as it gets ugly and you think you don't want to do anything, especially teenage boys, will quit and refuse to do it because they don't want to fail. And like, I'd rather I fail by quitting than let you make me look like a fool and failing me. It's like, no, that's not how the earth works. The harder it is, the more intense it is. So you're like, oh, this is hard. This is really hard. Yes. Because if it was easy, you'd be like, get me out of this stupid, boring place. Right? Who's ever finished their work first in a class? And then you're bored. And then that's when you get in trouble. You start talking, you're messing around, you're looking at the ceiling. This is a nightmare. So draw, doodle, get something out. Keep your mind busy. It's just because you're bored. You're not in trouble. You're just, as soon as you finish, your brain's like, let me do something else. So give your brain something else to do. You know, take care of your brain. This is going to happen at work. You're going to be like, excuse me, I'm all finished with my work. And the boss is like, yeah, okay, I got a million things to do. Go find something to do. It's just, that is just earth. As soon as you're bored, you get in trouble because you're messing around. Just do something else. You guys did a really good job. Awesome. And we learned dark, medium, light. We learned texture and how we use the blunts. And you got all these tools. You want to reassemble that thing so you can take it home? Because it all goes back in its own little case. And you can throw everything in that bag, right? I like to put mine in rainbow order. Darkest green, medium green, light green.
Sorry, did you just get done?
No, I'm not done. We're still in class.
Okay.
And then my blue, yellow, pink, my blunts away. Ooh, who likes the gummy eraser? It's a trip, right? 4 dimensions. This is the drafting eraser. That's the bomb. A regular little Sharpie. Now we can just slide them to, oh, switch. And now we just slide them in here. And then when you fold it over, use this rubber band. And then it comes like this. Oh, look at what happened to all my chalks though. They fell out. Like that. And then you have your paper. Oh. This tablet goes in there. And a little book. You can read the little book about drawing. Right? Or just look at the pictures. And what I like to do is I like to copy other people's drawings. Oops, that's not what I meant to do. Whoops, back on. There. So if you copy other people's drawings, how did they do that? And you just literally copy them. And by copying them, you are learning that one thing by doing it, right? So you're like, I don't know how. It's like, so it doesn't matter, you know, you just copy whatever that guy did and just trace and copy and trace and copy and keep yourself entertained. And then don't start drawing in class unless the teacher knows that you can always tell the teacher, I draw as soon as I'm done. And they'll say, okay. But if they think you're not done and you're drawing, they'll be annoyed. So it was great. It was great to work with you guys. So the next time we do clay, and it's air dry clay. It's 5 pounds of clay. And then I gave you a whole bunch of tools, clay tools. They're like $10 worth of tools and $8 worth of clay. And we'll sculpt in clay, and it's air dry clay. So just leave it till the end of summer school. On a shelf or something. I gave you a little paper plate to keep it on, you know, and we'll sculpt anything you want to sculpt. I'll just show you some of my tricks. And then we do a silk scarf, which is the Wednesday after that, and that's a real silk scarf. And we use Sharpies. I give you a whole pack of Sharpies, and we draw, and then I give you rubbing alcohol, and it makes all the colors bleed into each other. It's so fun. You guys are going to love it. But you'll have to spread out more and give yourself more room. It's a really big, big silk scarf. Super fun. Okay, so come back and invite some of your friends, because all those supplies, what's going to happen to them if nobody actually uses them, right? So you're like, oh yeah, we got to make sure people who love art get these supplies and they just don't go to someone who doesn't appreciate them. Okay, so I'll see you guys next Wednesday at 9 o'clock.
Hey, Pixie.
Yes, question.